this evening, and I think it's going to be a direct and hopefully a informative and quick meeting. But at this time, I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll recess for a previously advertised public hearing as follows. In accordance with sections 15.2-1427 and 15.2-2507 of the Code of Virginia as amended, notice is hereby given that the Franklin County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, March 28, 2023 at approximately 6 o'clock p.m. in the Franklin County Board of Supervisors meeting room at the Government Center, 1255 Franklin Street, Suite 104, Rocky Mount, Virginia. This hearing will be to set the tax levies for the following classes of property. And Mr. Whitlow, I think.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, appreciate that. I'd ask Mr. Carter maybe if he comes forward. We're tag teaming tonight a little bit. And so we've just got a few review slides, if you will. And Mr. Carter, if you don't mind advancing the slides for me, and these are some highlights of from a few weeks ago when we presented the budget. Of course, we knew we were in a budgetary challenging environment with the consumer price index and the rate of inflation. That's been sustained at around 6%, 6.4 at the time of the presentation of the budget. And so certainly local governments are not immune from inflation. So Mr. Carter, we had shared with the board previously of various pressure items in this year's budget. You can see that on vehicle, equipment, and fuel and maintenance contracts, our utilities, professional services, all of course are being affected by inflation, and including our health insurance and so forth. So Mr. Carter. Our CSA demand costs continue to increase, and of course we know we've had a sustained increase with the number of inmates at our regional jail. And so all of that, of course, going into this budget, we knew we had a significant budget gap to fill, about $5.3 million. So Mr. Carter. On the revenue side, of course, we're seeing some normalizing revenue, if you will. Our nominal real estate growth in a non-reassessment year is about 0.65%. We're seeing some moderate personal property growth, sales tax growth, and transient occupancy. And while those continue to be healthy, they are moderating. But the noteworthy message, I guess, as part of the budget and as shared with the board previously, that negative impact has compelled the Federal Reserve to raise rates. And so what that has happened is created a domino effect of higher interest rate returns on our bank deposits with the county. And so that's about $2 million. And so we're very pleased with that in terms of trying to balance this budget. So Mr. Carter. So the proposed budget, of course, seeks to continually sustain our strategic priorities as the county. It meets the inflationary and service demand obligations. This proposed budget addresses the board's priority of supporting our competitive employee retention. It incorporates the board direction as to no property tax rate increases. It utilizes the good fortune of significant interest earnings, as previously shared. And of course, most recently, we've adjusted this budget to include an additional $200,000 with the anticipated SAFER federal grant funding to support some additional EMS staffing. So Mr. Carter. All that being said, the budget is a proposed balanced budget with no property tax rate increases. The discretionary revenue increase is of 5.4%, and that, of course, narrowly sustains any market inflationary cost. The overall budget is approximately $184 million. That's about a minimum 1.1% increase over last year's budget, or the current year, I should say. On all intents and purposes, this budget can be described as a stopgap maintenance budget. The expenses are balanced with the good fortune of some interest earnings and other revenue. The insufficient revenue, however, of course, would support any new positions at this time other than any federal grant funding that we anticipate we will receive. And of course, as with any budget in any environment, the economic volatility will require an ongoing budget review. So Mr. Carter. That being said, I think we have a couple of slides on the tax rates, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Of course, there are two hearings tonight. One are on public hearing on the tax levies, and then the second is the public hearing on the actual proposed FY 23-24 budget.
Okay.
And those tax levies are there on the
sir.
screen with no changes as
Exactly.
proposed.
So no changes on the tax rates. They're laid out there in front of you for our different tax categories. And they are existing rates today, so no changes to them that is proposed. So unless there are any questions, Mr. Chairman, we're ready to open up the public hearing on the tax levies.
We have any questions for Mr. Carter? Don't see any. So at this time, we'll open the floor for public comment in regard to the tax rates. If anyone is here, Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up at this time?
No, Mr. Chairman, I did not have anyone signed up prior to the meeting.
Okay. Is there anyone in the gallery that would like to speak to the board in regard to the listed tax rates for this year's budget? Okay, seeing none, we will close the floor to public hearing on the tax rates. Mr. Carter?
All right. Well, Mr. Chairman, as we said, so the other public hearing is for the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget. So just a quick synopsis of the budget. And so as Mr. Whitlow mentioned, the only real change on this from what was advertised in the newspaper was that SAFER grant for about $200,000. So what you'll see is the other county funds / county federal category that increased by $200,000 compared to our previous advertisement. And so our new net budget is $184,013,817. And the same way on the expenditures, so that $200,000 added to the public safety category. And so that is now $22,811,069. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, that is the proposed budget in the categories that we have reviewed. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Carter in regard to the budget?
I have one question, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. And that 200,000, does that allow for another animal control officer?
No, the SAFER grant money can only be paramedic firefighters, per my understanding. That would not cover animal control.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none. This time, we'll open the floor for public comment in regard to the 23-24 proposed budget. Madam Clerk, anyone pre-registered for this?
No, Mr. Chairman, no one pre-registered.
Okay. Is there anyone in the gallery that would like to speak to the Board of Supervisors in regard to the 23-24 proposed budget? Okay, seeing none, we will close the floor to public comment.
Mr. Chairman, I would add, if I may, regarding the board's schedule and for budget adoption, the Code of Virginia requires a 1-week separation between tonight's public hearings and budget adoption. And originally, we were looking at potentially Tuesday, April the 11th, for possible budget adoption. But I do understand there may be some conflicts for that afternoon and meeting time. That's Tuesday the 11th at 1 p.m. I do know many of you have obligations earlier in the afternoon. So I would add, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, that anytime beginning next Tuesday afternoon through Tuesday, April the 11th, if there is a better day and time, if it's in the evening, that would work better to accommodate your schedules. I'm certain that we
I
can
do
work
have
through
a
that.
conflict on the 11th, so I would like to move it up to either one day next week, either the 4th, 5th, or 6th in the afternoon. Instead of, if we could, instead of setting it at 1 o'clock in the middle of the day, maybe we could go, would it be work to some of our other colleagues, if we'd say 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock? Seeing some heads nod.
I can't do 4th or 5th.
Okay. How about the 6th?
I could probably do Thursday the 6th, but yeah, I could do Thursday the 6th. I can't do
Thursday the
4th or
6th. Okay, Thursday the 6th at 4 o'clock?
5th. It's to vote on the budget, correct?
The vote on the budget, yes. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock
on
Thursday the 6th. Okay.
That'll also give you your 3-day notification period.
Sure.
It'll also give you your 3-day advertisement period.
Thursday, April 6th at 4
o'clock.
p.m.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Mr. Chairman, we do have one other item this evening on the agenda, and that is an update from our Tourism Marketing Director, Kevin Tosh, regarding the fair. This is carried over from last Tuesday's meeting, and so I think Mr. Tosh may have some good news to share with our board this evening.
Absolutely. Chairman, members of the board, I appreciate the opportunity. I'll make it very quick. I want to thank the board for their input last Tuesday. We spent much of last week up until yesterday, and we have been able to secure a midway. The one change would be we would have to adjust the date to that August date. So with consensus of the board, we would ask that we move the agricultural fair for this year of 2023 to August the 16th through the 19th, and that will include a midway. I want to also thank Mike Burnett. He was very instrumental in helping us secure the midway. So with board consensus, we will move forward with that date and have the fair as advertised normally.
I'm seeing heads nodding, so we're good. You've got a consensus for those dates.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations, Kevin. Excellent work.
Absolutely. Good
Mr.
job.
Burnett, thank you as well.
Makes you proud.
Yes.
I mean, the staff that we have, I can say more, I couldn't show you more appreciation to our staff. We are so fortunate for all of you, for the hard work that you do every day. We don't tell you it's bad on our part, we should. Thank you so much, all of you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
About that? Was it taken care of by email, or did we finally just have to pick up the phone and talk to somebody?
Phone call.
Phone call. So just a point here. I think I've said this before setting up here. I think we rely entirely too heavily on email. This is a great point here that sometimes it's best to just pick up the phone and bug somebody to get a response. Everything email, everything online frustrates me. I deal with it with my vendors and suppliers every day. Pick up the phone and call, and this proves my point. I've said it year after year setting up here that sometimes you got to use the phone instead of email. So good work. I told you last week I had all the confidence in the world, so glad it worked out.
Thank you.
And he's a young fella saying that, right?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yes. All right. Anyone else have anything?
I texted the wife just trying to confirm that the 6 at 4 is good, because
Okay.
give it just a couple minutes. I might step
Okay,
out and
yeah,
call
we'll
her
give you
real
minutes
quick,
so that you
because I went over all these dates with her, and we had it good, so
Okay.
make sure she's not working late that day, so
Okay.
she can get Liam. But let me call her real quick, Mr.
I
Chairman.
fully understand.
My wife probably wonders why I never ask her anything.
I would ask Mr. Chairman, too, while the board is here, maybe to put a couple other dates down. Possibly, we have had some discussions with the potential of possibly maybe having a meet and greet, if you will, with some of our other local elected bodies, whether it be the town of Boone's Mill or the town of Rocky Mount. So we have a couple of dates at the Franklin Center. Monday, April the 24th, Monday, May the 1st. Of course, I haven't had a chance to reach out to either of the towns yet, but if we get that on your radar, and we can talk more about that next week. But Monday, April 24th, Monday, May 1st. I will say, in addition, the county, once again this year, will be hosting the Virginia Association of Counties regional meeting at the Franklin Center. We will be doing that on June, I believe it's the 14th. Madam Clerk, thank you. So June the 14th, there at the Franklin Center, and of course that will be all the other localities in our region. Very much those localities enjoyed in the VACO staff last year. They enjoyed some Homestead Creamery ice cream and all the good work that our staff had done. So we look forward to that on June the 14th.
What time is that, Mr. Whitlow?
Right now, we're tentatively looking at a 3 o'clock
Okay.
timeframe, 3 to 5 on June the
Okay.
14th.
I
What is
do
it,
have a
Mr.
conflict on April 24th, that Monday.
Sure. We'll be looking.
All right, I see we got a thumbs up for next Thursday, so I guess we will recess until Thursday, April the 6th at 4 PM. Everyone have a good afternoon.